Welcome to Three Count Commentaries as we talk about AEW Rampage from February the 25th, 2022. All right, so the show is just becoming elevation. It's just becoming dark, just on television. First, we got to talk about the rating for last week. I don't talk about ratings. I really don't care. But I did notice that the ratings for the 7 o'clock show were worse than the ratings for the 10 o'clock shows. Now, it's a one-off, but it is an interesting thing that a lot of people have said that it was the time slot that was a big problem when it comes to Rampage. A lot of people say it comes on at 10 o'clock. That's a huge issue. Now people are saying, okay, well, 7 still wasn't its normal time slot, and that's true. But it was abnormal. It took a while for people to find it. Maybe they forgot that it comes on at 7. Okay, I could buy that maybe somebody forgot that it comes on at 7. But like the ratings already are not that good, and they took a huge hit. I mean, I think the demo actually went up. Like, I think the demo went up 1 point, or 0.01. I think they had like a 2.0 on it, or a 0.2 in the demo, which is, I think usually it does a 0.19 or something like that, 0.18 or something. So it wasn't that much better when it comes to the demos, and it was worse as far as overall viewers. I'm not sure they're properly serving Rampage as a show the way that it operates currently. I know what they're trying to do. I know why they do it. I just am not sure that it's working. I just don't think people can justify watching more AEW. And then when you look at, and I know this is a big thing on the internet currently, is they're talking about the AEW YouTube shows. Well, those shows get 200, 300,000 viewers. And if you add in the people who are watching it live, I don't see it reaching 400,000 or 500,000 people. Now, I'm going to go into it more because I did see a question for March in the Q&A. I'll probably go into my thoughts on that whole thing a little bit more, but when you look at AEW, no matter what Dynamite does, Rampage essentially does the same number. And then Dark and Dark Elevation and all that kind of stuff still doesn't do very well even on YouTube. It does better than, the shit that I do, but I'm a very small YouTube channel. This is a multinational promotion with worldwide penetration when it comes to YouTube. So, and then they have to almost always tease announcements in order to get the TV ratings to jump. They have to talk about new announcemnacements and new signings, and always with the constant new stuff. They can't really just sell a show, so I need to ask the question, like, what is going on with AEW really? Speaking of that announcement, they're saying they're going to make another announcement on Wednesday. Their first announcement was that they have an announcement, and now we're going to find out what the announcement is. Some sneaky young people have said that, of course, like I said before, people think that it's going to be, they bought Ring of Honor. They're going to go to a streaming service. The third one, they said, is likely going to be some kind of joint show. And I'm hearing that's what it is. That's just something I heard floating about, that it's going to be likely a joint show in New Japan, maybe in the United States. If that's the case, they need something stronger than that, if we're being honest. Like, for Tony Khan saying that it's going to be something that's going to change the business, or, what he says is going to be very good for pro wrestling. It's like, sure, a crossover between a couple of big promotions could be good for business, but you need something stronger than that. You're certainly going to need something stronger than that to make me interested in whatever the hell you're talking about, But we'll see what it is. I tend to take things with a grain of salt until they actually occur. So, there that go. So now let's talk about this stupid show. This show is stupid. Sammy Guevara defeats Andrade El Idolo. Look at me, I'm driving to Sammy Guevara. After he went through all this trouble of putting Andrade in this position, of doing all the Hardy family office crap, of all the scheming and stuff they've been doing in these stairwells, he just loses. And I was just kind of like, well, you know what? It is what it is. After the match, the Hardy family office tried to attack Sammy Guevara, and Sting and Darby Allin came out there and saved him. I guess this is the build for the 6-man tag match they're going to have at the pay-per-view. Look, I don't care about that damn match. I couldn't care less about Sammy Guevara. You know, to me, I still don't understand why he's carrying 2 belts. I really don't understand why he's carrying 2 belts. It literally makes no sense to me. It is what it is. Match was what it was. Andrade is in the exact same position in AEW as he was in WWE. He barely wrestles, and when he does wrestle, he loses. So, I mean, I guess that's just his lot in life. When you pull the same card twice, it's just kind of like, well, that's your lot in life, or somebody playing a card trick on you. One way or the other, you got to deal with the cards you're dealt. And Andrade was dealt with the card of just being a jobber to the stars. And, you know, I'm sure he'll eventually get an attitude about this, but right now probably the money is too good, and he's only been doing this about a year. Maybe give it about another couple of months, and he'll probably be complaining in no time, especially if he becomes a big star in Mexico. He probably just bounce from this shit completely and not deal with it and just be a big star in his home country. QT Marshall came out there and blamed Taz for the disrespect that Hook shows everybody, and says that he made Hook and that all of Hook's success belongs to him. This leads Hook to come out. Hook comes out there and they have this Ip Man like fight scene where all the dummy students for the QT Marshall school run up on him so he could do his judo moves and toss them and stuff like that. Hook looked like he just woke up, as always. He's wearing a hoodie, and I'm just like, okay, I guess that means he's cool. The crowd was at least chanting for him, so that was good. This was all fine. The fight scene was what it was. QT Marshall ran off and screaming like a woman in a horror movie. It was stupid. This was also dumb. Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Dan Lambert were out there. Lambert wants Scorpio Sky to get a TNT championship match, but Tony Khan offered him a Face of the Revolution qualifier. And Scorpio Sky was like, what? I already won the giant donut. So then Lambert says, okay, this is what I was able to do. We're going to get you the title shot, but you're going to get your TNT championship match before the winner of the qualifier, no, the winner of the Face of the Revolution match does. We're going to guarantee you're going to get your title match first. And I want to yell at the screen. The title is open challenge. You don't need Tony Khan's permission. It's open challenge. If that's what the belt is, if the belt is open challenge, anybody can just sign up for the match. Just sign up for the fucking match. And that's still, of course, why we don't understand why we're having this ladder match. But that's just wrestling stuff in general. But this frustrated the hell out of me. This was so dumb. Wardlow defeats Nick Comoroto. Aaron Solo jumped in afterwards. Wardlow was about to powerbomb him. Spears hit Solo with a chair while he was in powerbomb position. It hurt Wardlow's hand. Wardlow was selling his hand for a little bit and then kind of got in Shawn Spears' face. Shawn Spears says, look, I've been trying to help you out. I've been trying to tell you here. I'm trying to be your advisor. And I'm telling you, the Powerbomb Symphony isn't over. It's not working. It's not popular. And people are, of course, booing this. But he's like, look, just stick to the basics. Go in there and win the match. Don't try to show off. Just win the match. This is their piece of the show. And I wanted to hurl at the concept of this dweeb, like Shawn Spears, going on television, of course, using insider terms. Oh, it's not. What you're doing is not over. Like what? Okay. I know they did it all day Wednesday with Jericho and Kingston. You know, I said you could be a huge baby face. What's a baby face? It's like, look, man, you might as well just tell everybody that this shit is a fucking show. They shouldn't believe anything on it. Nobody's real on here, and everybody's just, this is some shit we talked about earlier. I mean, that's the most, they like, why not? If you're going to break the fourth wall, just go ahead and break it. But like, Eddie, that's not what we agreed for you to say earlier. You know, like, Eddie, didn't we talk about this 10 minutes ago? This is what you're supposed to say. This is your line. You know, I think Randy Orton had one of those moments, didn't he? When he wandered around, couldn't remember what his lines were. Anyway, Nick Comoroto, he looks like a giant barbarian. Guy was super muscular. He's probably the best physical specimen Wardlow has beaten yet. And very impressive win. Wardlow always looks pretty good. Serena Deeb defeated Kayla Sparks with the Serenity Lock. Kayla Sparks was actually on SmackDown as she participated in the Kiss Cam segment with Los Lotharios. So she was on SmackDown and Rampage on the same night. Very interesting stuff. I don't know who she is, though. I have never seen her before in my life until tonight, and I've seen her twice. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa had promos against each other. Thunder Rosa continues to be terrible as a talker. Only thing that she said really was that she wants to give the people what they deserve, and that is a real champion that they can be proud of. And she signed the contract. Then Britt Baker gave us a long spiel about, you know, Thunder Rosa is only relevant when she's hanging out with her, when she's facing her. Thunder Rosa is bitter and jealous because even though she won the Lights Out match, it was the Lights Out match is what made Britt Baker famous. Britt Baker is a star of the show. She's a pillar, while Thunder Rosa was working on YouTube, hoping to get a shot at the big time. It was all fine, you know, some nice barbs in there about, you know, Thunder Rosa not being relevant unless she's linking up with Britt, which is true. But that's mainly how AEW likes to book Thunder Rosa, that she doesn't matter unless she's feuding with Britt. And Britt Baker says that Thunder Rosa will never be the champion. She'll never be the star and all that kind of stuff. So this led to Thunder Rosa jumping over the table, attacking. She missed everything, by the way. She really didn't even make any contact with Britt Baker. Britt Baker, not like Britt Baker super moved or jumped out of her seat. She just kind of leaned a little, and Thunder Rosa missed everything. She tipped over the table. The three of them jumped her, Reba, Britt, and Jamie Hayter. They stomped her out. Then Mercedes Martinez ran out to the ring to help her. Mercedes Martinez ended up powerbombing Hayter through a table. And I hated that post-segment stuff. This is this. I can't give this any more energy than it gave me. I don't care about Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker again. I don't have a problem with what Britt Baker said. I think Britt Baker's promo was still very well done, well delivered, true in a lot of statements. But it's just, don't care, you know? I just don't care. And the qualifier for the Face of the Revolution, Orange Cassidy defeats Anthony Bowens, and quite frankly, one of the silliest goddamn matches I've ever seen. Orange Cassidy thinks he has to climb things tonight, and he was told he doesn't have to. He just has to wrestle. He said, "Oh, I'm a good wrestler. I could do that." Then he said, "You have to wrestle Anthony Bowens of the Acclaim." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm better than Anthony Bowens. I can wrestle him." And of course, the Acclaim said, "No, you know, you're not a better wrestler than him. You Macklemore looking mother." They call him Macklemore looking bastard or something like that, which I guess was the best burn they had all night. They called him some more names. He just kind of says that he hasn't been listening. And I was just like, oh, this is cringe. This was the first match where people actually got interested. Nobody got interested on the rest of this fucking show. So everybody got interested because, you know, the Acclaim has to do their rap. And their rap was awful. Their rap Jesus Christ. The rap implied that Orange Cassidy was racist. Where he says, this the Acclaimed, very nice, very evil. I see you're not best friends with any black people. I was like, ugh, what the fuck? Why on... He could have kept that shit to himself. He could have just said, maybe we don't rap this week. Maybe we don't rap. Maybe we just let the music play and we announce where we're from or something like that. Maybe we do something else. Oh, this is awful. So the music continued to play as Orange Cassidy was going to rap. He put the microphone up to his lips. Then he put his hands in his pockets. Then he gave the fake shin kicks, and now the fight is on. Then, after he bumped Anthony Bowens, he gets on the microphone and says, "Word to your mother." I was like, oh, no, now they're just making fun of you. Now they're just mocking you. You know, they're just mocking dudes now, man. They just slap you in the face, wop, wop. You know, one hand with the palm and the backhand. Like, wop, wop, you know, straight up. Fuck you. That's what we gonna do out here. So, after, of course, what took place is Danhausen was hiding around the building, and they find Danhausen. He cursed the Acclaimed, and they end up losing. I was like, this is all so damn silly. You got this guy playing footsie. You got this guy in a goddamn mask. He's putting curses and hexes and shit on people, man. I'm like, I don't get it. Nah. I'm good. We good. We don't have to keep doing this. Rampage is slowly but surely becoming a C show. You know, it's not becoming appointment viewing for me. I want to keep watching it, but this is, I don't see anything on this show that says, hey, instills any confidence in me that I should be watching it next week. You know, I don't know, but I probably will. I did see one note, a couple of notes actually that I probably should have talked about before the show started. But I didn't know that the BTE thing had occurred. That they did a spoof of WWE asking Jeff Hardy to go to a drug rehab or something like that, by the Young Bucks trying to get Matt Hardy to pee in a cup because of his quote erratic behavior. And the only thing I could think of was Kenny Omega saying, "Oh, the biggest proportion of the most passionate of us versus them was Cody." It's like, oh really? CM Punk goes on I don't know how old this video is. I really don't know. But apparently somebody clipped out about 30 seconds of a CM Punk podcast where he says all of these guys being in WWE or former WWE guys is like going to an AA meeting. You know, and I was like, you know, it probably is. Alcoholics think about alcohol all the time and they can't help themselves. So a lot of ex-WWF guys are still thinking about it. You know, must be a lot like drugs. The Jeff Hardy thing I also did see. The fuck WWE thing Jeff Hardy supposedly said because they wanted him to go to rehab. He said basically they don't have any faith in him. So why would he go back? But it was his dream to go back and wrestle Roman Reigns. But as long as his wife and his daughters have faith in him, he's good. I hope Jeff is in the right frame of mind. And that's all I can say. I understand what he meant. I understand the sentiment. Sometimes people don't express themselves as the best way possible. He's saying like he loves the company and he would go back, but to fulfill some of the things he really wanted to do. But he never wanted to feel like he had to continuously prove himself. To every time he does something, people want to send him to rehab because he has a history. Like that's triggering, you know. It does get offensive to a point. So I'm not mad at Jeff for saying that or acting like that. I know a lot of people are. I don't get that though. You know, it should make perfect sense. Is for somebody to continuously accuse you of something that you said you didn't do. That, you know, and you don't want to participate in that. There's nothing wrong with saying, look, I'm going to stand up for myself and I'm not going to continue to go through this. Yeah, I had my troubles in the past, but that's not what's going on now. Stand on that. If that's what you believe, that's the truth, stand on it. And that seems to be what he's doing. And maybe it came out a little gruff with the whole fuck WWE thing, but hey, if that's how he feels about them trying to send him to rehab without, having faith in him, then he has every reason to feel that way. Now, I don't think that the Young Bucks should be spoofing, that kind of thing. If he's going to be coming into the company with that attitude of take my word for it and I'm not going to rehab, I'm not doing that, then maybe y'all shouldn't be spoofing it. You probably shouldn't be making fun of it. It's a very serious thing, especially considering I haven't heard hide or hair of AEW doing anything in terms of drug testing or steroid testing or anything else medical. So I think AEW should chill when it comes to, spoofing serious things like guys who have problems with drugs and alcohol. And even if you say, oh, they're making fun of WWE, look, WWE has had wrestlers die under contract because they were doing drugs. At least 3 or 4 wrestlers well, how many was it? So Brian Pillman was one. He died under contract, drugs. Eddie Guerrero died under contract, had a history of drugs. Chris Benoit, of course, killed his family, died under contract. Again, history of drugs. They take that stuff seriously. Maybe it's, and making fun of that is ridiculous. Especially considering a lot of people for a lot of years have been sitting back waiting on. I was in a very morbid pool at one point in time. I'm going to say this because, nobody cares about Rampage anymore. That somebody bet me. They said, okay, who's going to die first, Jeff Hardy or Scott Hall? And I remember this was during the TNA days, and Scott Hall just kept getting arrested, and Jeff Hardy kept getting arrested. And as wrestling fans, we get that black sense of humor. It's very scary sometimes. And I remember somebody asking me that question online, like, who do you think is going to die first, Jeff or Scott Hall? And I was like, I'm surprised Scott Hall is still fucking alive. This was before the Hall of Fame and everything. This was years ago. And I was just like, I'm surprised Scott Hall is still alive. I really am. I'm glad to say that I don't know when the last time a wrestler died from like an overdose or something like that. It's been some years, I know there's been a couple of suicides, they've been trying to blame that stuff on CTE and depression and stuff like that. But I'm glad that wrestling doesn't have a lot of overdoses and stuff like that anymore. And for AEW to be making fun of it, and for Jeff to have the attitude that, I'm not going to go to rehab just to prove that I'm not going to go, I can see both sides of that issue. When you're the company and it's a PR nightmare that you're floating through the crowd being weird, the first thing they're going to do is think, okay, maybe you should have, why didn't you drug test him? Especially if something happens to him. Imagine if they said, oh, he's all right, and then he went backstage and fainted, or was dehydrated and dropped down in the middle of the crowd or something like that. Just anything can happen, and you have to be cautious, because the moment something bad happens, you got a Bixen Span or some other vulture sitting around saying how you didn't take care of your performers and how every 40-year-old guy on your roster is your responsibility, and because they're all just tall children. They shouldn't make fun of that stuff. They shouldn't be spoofing that stuff. It's not a game. It's not a joke. That's all. But let me know what you guys think about Rampage and all the news and notes that I've listed here. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.